Hello, and welcome to my February 2025 bullet journal setup. If you're new here, welcome. I have had a lot of new subscribers over the past few weeks, both from my 2025 journal setup as well as my January setup. So if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I am so excited to see you. A little bit about me. I live in Toronto, so you guys will see like elements of that coming in every once in a while. And I like to bullet journal as well. So, and if you are a returning subscriber, it is always great to see you. So for February, I decided to not actually do like your traditional February or like Valentine's Day theme. I did one last year. You have the whole 14 days of self-love challenge that I also put out with all the little envelopes. I'll make sure I have that linked for you guys here as well if you want to go back and kind of like draw some inspiration from that. But for this year, I decided to not really lean very heavy into the Valentine's Day vibes. What we do have here is I created kind of like a memo board, kind of similar to, I don't know how to describe it, kind of like those older like metal framed ones where you have like cross sections or boxes, as you can see here, where you would have to like physically like clip things on. So I decided to do kind of like a memo board or like a pin board similar to that, and essentially just have a whole bunch of things attached to it. So like notes, like you are loved, a couple of pictures, like letters, mementos, and that's actually very similar to what I have in my room. I have a cork board that I use all the time, and I store everything from like things I actually need to remember that are important to mementos on it as well, pictures, stuff like that. So essentially that is my theme for the month. I did still want to include a little bit of Valentine's Day elements in there, so you will see kind of like hearts and stuff like that pop up in between every once in a while, but essentially we're not going very heavy into the Valentine's Day vibes, which I am totally fine with this year. I did also move on to my month at a glance page, and I really hemmed and hawed about whether or not I wanted to include one because I did have that cover page. But my month at a glance page is one of those things where I set up every month, I use it. It's about a 50-50 chance of me using it every single month, but in months that it's not there, I find that I actually miss having it. So we're doing it. This one I essentially just relied really heavily on my mild liners to add some color to the page, creating that calendar of everything. I did keep the boxes fairly small because I wasn't planning on doing like writing in the box what it is, but I do have that section under there that says February, under that February there, where I will be including like the date. So for example, on February 18th, I know that I'm going to dinner with a friend, so I will be writing in like 18 and then the restaurant that we will be going to in there. And then essentially that's just kind of like drawing it in as if it's one big sheet of paper with the calendar and everything on it that is tacked to this memo board that we have. My goals and 3 things section took me a little bit of time to figure out. Partly I think because it was like, how big and how do I make this look appropriate for what I'm doing? So for example, I'm still keeping up with those like sheets of paper and that look to it, but having the board behind it, it was like, how do I make it enough room to still write on, but still be usable for me, if that makes sense. So these actually ended up being like 10 by I want to say 12 boxes that I did here for the actual like memo page thing. And then I filled it all in kind of like the page in the middle there where it's by itself. So it's the actual box where I have to write, and it's only like 8 across, so fairly small, but also big enough considering that I am only writing like 3 things to do over the course of the month, or my goal is not necessarily going to be like a paragraph long. And then I included my next month page in there as well. And this is just really important just for me. I haven't set up my March Boudreaux yet. Obviously, I'm still working on February. So it's nice to have kind of like a really easy dashboard that I could go to if there's something that I need to jot down for the following month that doesn't necessarily need to make it into my big like future log at the beginning of the spread. Sometimes the future log is great for like long arching things, but I really like to keep like very small things in like my next month section in my monthly dashboard. And then for habits, I don't know, I just keep adding it in, I guess you could say. So for this month, I did really want to focus on like workouts and fitness and everything else. Through January, I kind of did, my workplace did this like challenge where we got to work out as many times as we wanted at local studios, and they paid for it. And one thing I kind of like learned through it is that I miss moving as much as I did before. So right now I spin pretty religiously, and like I'll go for walks and stuff like that, but I miss doing like yoga and Pilates. And like I was a Pilates girly before Pilates was a thing. I used to go to the studio with a whole bunch of like old women there because they were mainly doing rehab, and I swear I was like the youngest person there, and I was doing it for years and I absolutely loved it. So I'm just kind of like getting back to that, I guess, is what I am looking to do over the month of February. Yeah, I think I just want to maintain my current workout habit, but also build it out a little bit more. And it's kind of like see how it goes from there. I also included a brain dump section in this spread, which I haven't had in my past few ones, mainly because I have so much going on and so much on my mind right now that I need somewhere to put it down. And I know I will not have a lot of space in my weekly spreads for this month, but also because there's just like so many things I just want to like remember or do, or like thoughts, I guess you could say. Lots of thoughts in my head. I have my whole like going outside challenge, and I want to like have space to jot down ideas of things that I could do this month, upcoming months, things I need to book, things I'm researching, stuff like that. A trip that I'm planning to take. Just, you know, everything needs to go in there. I also have a whole weekend off, which I'm really looking forward to in February. So it's going to just be me at home. And I'm so looking forward to having like the place to myself. It's funny, every time I talk about it, I talk about food. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have sushi from this place that I've wanted to try, or I'm gonna have this, or I'm gonna have that, because the people who I'm lived with, one of them cannot have sushi, so I never actually order sushi. So I am thinking that like the brain dump section could be good for me to put down, like, ordered sushi from this place finally. And you know what, that could actually be a memory as well. It might actually be hitting my memory spread for the month, is sushi and a whole weekend by myself and the fun things that I get up to throughout Toronto, whether that be like a museum exhibit or what. Like we will be outside and we will be doing things in the month of February, especially since it's so cold all the time. I think like going outside kind of like helps a little bit with my mindset and everything. Just go outside and have fun. Very quickly, going into my content spread here as well. I am launching a second channel. I am also launching a second Instagram channel, which when you guys see this, that will not be live yet. But I did briefly talk about this, but I am going to be moving all book content to a separate channel. maybe starting in January, maybe starting in February, we'll see. Just because I'm thinking that it's getting a little bit too muddled, and I'm getting stressed as well, and I'm confused. So yeah, I think I just want to move book content to somewhere else, talk about it exclusively there, and leave this specifically for bullet journaling. And I think vlogs are going to move there as well. So I think I should say like books and vlogs are going to be moving to a separate channel, whereas everything else is going to be here, as well as short form content on TikTok and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, the content page is still just to like help me keep my mind in order of like what I'm doing and where. And then just kind of like keep a running tally of like things that I am putting out, because a lot of times I film content and actually don't post it until like a month later or something like that. So just general organization. Can you tell that I'm like a type A planner type person? Like I need to know what's happening at all times. But essentially that is what that is for. I'm also just really excited to like talk about books on a more dedicated channel. I know I keep going back to this, but it's just like I love books. I am a reader at heart, and I just think last year I really struggled with the fact that I wanted to talk about books a little bit more, but I also was talking about bullet journaling, and it was just like so much. Like for example, I read Onyx Storm, which is a Fourth Wing book, and I need to talk about this with just about everyone, not just my group chat. It needs to be like widespread talking to the internet about this book. But after that, I got into my weekly setup. So keeping that memo board idea in mind, I just set up like one really large one on the left hand side of the page here. And I used a whole bunch of different clips, so like all the different type of like clips that you've seen throughout, like a paper clip, or like I guess you could call them like a binder clip, a little circle for like a sticker or something like that, like almost like a push pin type thing, a heart. But essentially just created all these little boxes for all the days of the week, so that I can still write down like date specific items in there. So things like workouts, if I've booked them, my work schedule, appointments, meetings, stuff like that. So one of them at the top most left hand one is for my calendar for what is going on, just like my month at a glance for that month. The week that we're in is highlighted in the pink, obviously. I have Monday through Sunday listed, and then next week. And then I have these two sections here for me to write down tasks, as well as any like week specific notes that I may be making, need to jot down, transfer into another one as well. You do see me pull out a ruler a couple times here, and I have to say I am trying so hard to get better at the straight lines, but I kind of like the wonky lines for all of the like pages and stuff like that. Like it kind of gives it like this like rustic cutout look to it. So this essentially is just my flip through of everything that I set up for the month of February. I'm really looking forward to it, and seeing how it ends up being used over the course of the next month. I will also have my second half of 2024 bullet journal flip through for you guys up at some point in February, just to see how I actually used my setups from July through December 2024. But until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful month. I'll chat with you later. Bye.